ASAP Rocky bursts into tears after RiRi finally reveals why the room was unusually quiet. Not the comfortable kind of silence. The kind that feels heavy, loaded, almost painful. The kind where every breath sounds too loud, where emotions sit in the air like a storm waiting to break. ASAP Rocky stood near the window, his back turned, hands in his pockets, jaw tight. He had that familiar look, calm on the outside but restless inside. Rihanna sat on the edge of the couch, fingers interlocked, her head slightly bowed. Her eyes were glossy, already betraying what her lips hadn't yet said. This wasn't an argument. This was worse. This was the moment after everything had already been felt, but not yet understood. For weeks, maybe even months, Rocky had sensed it. The distance, the pauses in her voice, the way she sometimes stared off into space like she was carrying something too heavy to put down. He tried jokes, trips, late-night talks, even silence, thinking maybe space was what she needed, but nothing changed until tonight. Rocky finally said, his voice low and careful. You said you wanted to talk. I'm right here. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she took a shaky breath, then another. When she finally looked up at him, he felt it in his chest. That look, the one that told him this conversation was about to change everything. I need you to listen, Rihanna said softly, not as an artist, not as the world sees you, but as the man I love. Rocky turned fully toward her now. I'm listening, he said quietly. Her hands trembled slightly as she wiped her palms on her thighs. You keep asking me what's wrong, why I pull back sometimes, why I get quiet, why I cry when you're asleep and think I don't notice you notice. His brow furrowed. Yeah, he admitted, because it hurts not knowing. She nodded slowly. I know, and that's why I can't keep this inside anymore. The room felt smaller. Rihanna swallowed hard. The reason I've been scared, the reason I've been emotional, the reason I sometimes look at you like I'm about to lose you. Her voice cracked, is because I'm terrified of being abandoned again. Rocky blinked. What? He whispered. She stood up now, pacing slowly as if the words needed movement to escape. People think I'm strong all the time, untouchable, unbreakable. But the truth is, I've lost people I trusted, people I gave everything to. And every time I did, I promised myself I'd never let it happen again. She stopped in front of him. And then you came. Rocky felt his chest tighten. You came in so genuine, so steady, so loving. And instead of feeling safe, tears rolled down her cheeks. Now I felt scared, because loving you means risking everything. Rocky's throat closed. I didn't pull away because I didn't love you, she continued. I pulled away because I love you too much. Silence crashed between them. Rocky opened his mouth, but no sound came out. Rihanna took his hands in hers. I was afraid that one day you'd wake up and realize you didn't want this anymore, or that the world would pull you away, or that I'd lose you the way I lost before. That's when it happened. ASAP. Rocky's face crumpled, not dramatically, not loudly, just real. His shoulders shook once, then again, and suddenly the tears fell. He tried to look away, embarrassed, but Rihanna pulled his face back gently. No, she whispered. Don't hide. I didn't know, he said, his voice breaking completely. I swear I didn't know you were carrying all of that alone. Tears streamed freely now, his usual composure completely gone. You think I'd ever leave you? He choked. You think I'd ever play with your heart like that? Rihanna shook her head, crying harder. I know you wouldn't, she said. But fear doesn't listen to logic. Rocky pulled her into his chest, holding her tightly, almost desperately. I've been crying, too, he admitted. In my own way, wondering what I did wrong, wondering how to fix something you wouldn't let me see. His voice cracked again. I don't want you to protect yourself from me. I want to protect you. Rihanna sobbed into his hoodie. I'm sorry, she whispered, for shutting you out. He kissed the top of her head, tears falling into her hair. I'm not going anywhere, he said firmly. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Even when you're scared, even when you push, I'm staying. She pulled back just enough to look at him. You promise? She asked, her voice small. Rocky nodded through tears. On everything I am. They stood there like that for a long time. No cameras, no noise, no fame. Just two people finally understanding each other in a way they hadn't before. Later, Rihanna rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. That's why, she whispered. That's why, he repeated softly, and for the first time in a long while, the silence between them wasn't heavy, it was healing. Absolutely. Here's a very long, emotionally charged, viral-style fictional story written exactly in the dramatic tone your audience loves. Purely fictional and for entertainment, perfect for your YouTube storytelling channel. ASAP, Rocky bursts into tears after RiRi finally reveals why the room was silent. Not the calm kind of silence, but the heavy, suffocating kind that presses against your chest and makes it hard to breathe. ASAP, Rocky sat on the edge of the couch, elbows on his knees, fingers intertwined so tightly his knuckles had turned white. Across from him, Rihanna stood near the window, her back facing him, her reflection faintly visible in the glass. The city lights outside flickered, but inside time had completely stopped. For weeks, no, months, something had been off. Fans noticed at first, the missing smiles, the cancelled appearances, the way RiRi's eyes no longer lit up the same way when Rocky entered a room. And Rocky had been breaking quietly. He tried everything. Late-night talks, surprise getaways, heartfelt apologies, sometimes for things he didn't even know he'd done. But nothing worked. Tonight was different. Tonight, Rihanna had finally said the words that shattered him. We need to talk. The moment everything changed, Rocky looked up at her. His voice was soft, almost afraid. Please just tell me what's going on. Rihanna took a deep breath. Her shoulders trembled. She turned around slowly, her eyes already glossy with tears she had been holding back for far too long. I didn't want to hurt you, she whispered. I didn't want you to see me like this. Rocky stood up immediately, panic flashing across his face. See you like what, baby? You're scaring me. She shook her head, tears finally spilling. You think I've been pulling away because of you, she said. But the truth is, it's because of me. The confession that broke him. Rihanna walked closer, every step heavy. For so long, I've been carrying everything alone. The pressure, the expectations, being strong all the time, being Rihanna instead of just a woman who's tired. Rocky's lips trembled, his eyes never left hers. I didn't know how to tell you that I was drowning, she continued. I was scared that if I admitted it, you'd see me as weak. That's when it happened. ASAP, Rocky's face crumpled, his breathing became uneven. His jaw clenched as he fought a battle he was clearly losing. I thought I was losing you, he said, voice cracking. I thought I wasn't enough. He covered his face with his hands and then he broke. ASAP, Rocky bursts into tears. The tears came fast and uncontrollable, not the quiet kind, but the kind that shakes your entire body. Rocky dropped to his knees in front of her, sobbing. I would have carried it with you, he cried. Why didn't you let me? Rihanna fell to the floor with him, wrapping her arms around his head, pulling him into her chest. I didn't want to be a burden, she whispered. You could never be a burden to me, Rocky said through tears. You're my heart. His hands clutched onto her like she might disappear. I need you, he admitted. Not the superstar, not the icon. You, the truth fans never knew. Rihanna finally said the words she'd been holding back the longest. I was afraid, she confessed. Afraid that if I showed you how broken I felt, you'd stop loving me. Rocky looked up at her, tears still streaming down his face. I fell in love with your scars, he said, not just your shine. The room filled with quiet sobs, whispered reassurances, and the sound of two people finally being honest after months of silence. A love that survived the storm. They stayed like that for a long time, no cameras, no music, no fame, just two souls clinging to each other. Rocky kissed her hands gently. I'm not going anywhere, he said, ever. Rihanna rested her forehead against his. Then promise me something, she said. Anything. Next time we break together, not alone. Rocky nodded, tears still falling. I promise. Why? This moment shook the internet. When fans later saw them step out together days after, hands intertwined, eyes soft, energy completely changed, the internet exploded. People noticed the difference, the peace, the closeness, the unspoken understanding. What they didn't see was the night that almost broke them and the truth that finally saved them. Music, for, foreign, behind, music, it all. Why you, music, get for, music, Spider-Man, music,